And a lot of the history and research we've done on the place, because it's a story effect, or a story
There's a
here,
story
a
behind,
story.
yeah.
By the time it gets to that top layer of that cake, all the truth is just totally bent.
Been distorted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we go in and we straighten all those stories out, and it's actually a more interesting story when you tell the truth. So we actually will have that documentary on our website next month,
Wow.
so people can purchase that.
That would be wonderful.
But as far as the book and or the documentary, yes, eventually I want to do that, because I want people in the community to feel like they're us. Everybody's able to do what we do. Everybody has that intuition. Everybody has that sixth sense that somebody's in the room when nobody's there, stuff like that. And you shouldn't feel embarrassed to talk about it. One of the questions you have is how we deal with the religious views of this.
Yes.
Every religion has a teaching or a philosophy of the afterlife, and if they didn't believe in that, then why would we be here, right?
Right.
I can't believe that we're just but for 5 minutes. I believe that we live on and on and on and on in energy forms, different energy forms, and so when people realize that we're always who we are, we're always going to be people. Whether I pass away tomorrow, I'm still me. Whether I'm a nice person or a bad person, and I'm always going to be around. I want to be around where I want to be around, and that's around my kids. Michelle might choose someone different. Badeish, you might go somewhere different as well. So the community needs to understand that. Yes, exactly. So the community needs to understand that it's a normal part of life, not in just a religious sense, but a philosophical as well.
Well, there's a lot of paranormal in the Bible.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
So I think that we, as a culture, have had it always there out there on the perimeter, but it seems like in the last, I'd say the last 6 or 7 years, it's right here. And I think it's because of some of the television shows.
Right.
I think it's because some of the movies that they're coming out with that are not factual. They're hype and it's to bring up an awful lot of fear.
Right.
I think the kids get off on the adrenaline. They don't realize they're using up their adrenaline gland by having this. They really are.
Right.
Bringing up this kind of thing on a regular basis is a problem for the body. It has no rest. And if you've noticed some of the movies, the scary movies, the ghost movies, they don't let up. There's a new one coming out called The Alien and the Cowboy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it won't let up. From the minute you start watching it till its end, your adrenaline is going to be pumping. And I think that is a conscious decision being made in Hollywood,
Yeah.
because it's addictive to have that adrenaline. I knew some kids that were taking caffeine pills just to get the adrenaline on that constant, basis, and
Right.
it's dangerous for the heart.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're doing a paranormal investigation, I mean, hello.
Yeah.
There's got to be some heart flutters going on there.
Well, have you noticed a lot of them on TV are done at night, in the dark?
In the dark, with no
For
lights
the-
on.
For the fear factor.
Yeah.
But when you talk to the client, most of the activity has happened during the daylight.
Right.
That's
80% of our
something,
investigations are done with lights on. Safety factors. It's a huge thing.
Yeah, I would
And-
imagine.
And if you're
Yes.
going to recreate the scenario, I don't know of anybody who's walked through their kitchen dark at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to see a ghost, So this is why we tend to go at the same time that they've seen. The
According
spirits.
to the client, in other words, if they're seeing
Right.
something in the daytime, so you'll go and research during the day. But if they're actually having this activity happening at 1 and 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning,
Then we're
so
there.
then you're there at that time too.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we
Yeah.
like to investigate in the evening, at nighttime, in dark time, because it's fun. You do got that scare factor.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. Now you're
It
talking
is.
the
It's really
adrenaline
fun, but-
factor. We've been on a few cases where I swear to God I jumped out of my skin 20 times, and I've nearly peed my pants. But we try to relax, stay calm, and ground
Yeah.
ourselves so that we don't do anything irrational, even on, practice sessions.
It depends upon the vibration that you're dealing with. There are vibrations of spirit that are very, very low, and they bait and do certain things to build the fear up, the feel factor up. And I think in my opinion, I think that it's always good to say a blessing. It's always good to know certain things that you can do to protect yourself, because I've seen certain situations where there's actually physical marks on the body.
Right.
I personally have not had that. That would be all she wrote, but
Right.
I have seen that. I was going to ask you, is there been any problems with you guys having any physical experiences?
To everybody else but myself.
Everybody
Never
but
to
you.
me.
Yeah. I always
Never
seem
to
to be one who gets tagged a lot, touched, poked, pulled.
Pushed.
Yes, pushed. I've had them up in my face. But here's the thing with that, Badeish. If I came to your house tomorrow with a recorder and a camera,
Yeah.
and I talked as if you weren't there and asked 20,000 questions,
Yeah.
how would you feel?
Irritated.
Right. So you're gonna flick me in the neck somewhere along the line. So that's why we try to back down a little bit and say, okay, whoa, we got to be respectful because these are people. Even though.
Yeah, and intelligent
Yeah.
questioning versus provoking, that can be very, very dangerous to
Yeah.
provoke. You're inviting them to maybe push you, engage you in a much more aggressive manner, and that
Right.
could get out of control.
You're basically opening a door.
Yes, you are.
In
And
certain circumstances, most circumstances, yes. There are other situations, such as we had a client. This spirit was dealing with her 2-year-old son,
Ah,
and we when we did the normal investigation, we weren't getting anything. But I went in the front room and I started provoking, in a respectable way,
yeah.
challenging him, and
You knew it was a him.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
the little boy, and the mother told us that, and so we actually I provoked him, and we got more out of him, because this is not a well person, even though they may not have been a well person in life, they just continue on what they are, and we've caught some pictures, of full apparition from that case, and that's an ongoing case. Another thing about our group I should mention is if it takes 5 years to help the client feel better, we'll go 7. If it takes 2 months, we'll do 2 months. Whatever. We're always there. We are so close to our clients. We've got so many friends right now, and we love that. Because it's like a big community.
Well, it is intimate.
Very.
It can't get any
yeah.
more intimate.
You
when
can never have too
you're
many
dealing
friends
with,
either.
Oh,
well,
yeah,
of
no.
course,
So,
but
yeah.
I mean, when you're dealing with people on this level, it does get intimate. And when I'm going to read somebody, for instance, I say to them right up front, this is going to be intimate.
Right.
And I want you to feel comfortable that I'm going to talk directly to your heart.
Exactly.
And they can feel, and I think that your clients feel your integrity and your caring, and you probably count on them actually being able to feel that from you guys, right? Because you're setting it
Right.
up so that they can be, because they're scared, obviously. There's some different situations you're going to run into where they're scared.
One client I talked to, she said to me, thank you for being here to help me. And I said, no, I'm not here to help you. I'm here because you're helping me. And she said, how so? And I said, this is why I created this group, because I have questions of my own that needs to be answered, and you're going to help me with that. And she goes, oh, wow. And then she just let it fly. When they know you're on the same page and you're there with them, that intimacy, that boundary goes away.
Yeah.
So we're just as intimate with our clients as they are with us.
I wanted to ask you what different types of hauntings. Michelle, would you like us
Oh,
to
I'm
water?
fine.
Okay.
Thank you. No, thank you.
What's the different kind of hauntings that you guys have experienced? Michelle, why don't you jump right in here?
Oh, well, there's been a couple. I've seen one residual, which it just reoccurs. A couple of Oh, I just lost the word.
Intelligent.
Intelligent. Okay. I like the intelligent ones because when you get the answers to your questions and you have the research to back up, their answers, that's exciting. I have yet to see anything fly across the room or slide across the table or get
What about
touched.
knockings, doors,
I
moving?
I was actually the first client in this group. I
That's
I lived in a studio apartment after leaving a relationship.
Yes.
And I had things flying across the room. My friends stopped coming over. Things would break on the wall. I was cut. All the
That's angry spirit.
yeah, I didn't know what it was. I've had people tell me everything from an elemental to whatever, and I didn't know anything about the paranormal when we first started this group. I just knew that we had to do something different. So I went to a lot of different groups to get answers on this, and a lot of them helped me. So I have seen things like that. I can't explain that. The only thing I believe is that it was somebody that wouldn't show themselves to me, although we would see shadows that went across the wall. But they were just very mischievous. Perhaps they were angry when they were alive, and they're angry now when they've passed on. Who knows? I don't know.
Were you ever able to send it on its way, or is it still there?
It went away, and then I moved a couple of months later, and it didn't seem to have followed me. That case, by the way, is still open for that location. I don't know if it's still there or if it just left me alone. I don't know. But it didn't attach itself to me or anything. I think it may be more of a location thing for that.
Yeah, I remember when I was visiting my sister in Idaho, and she had a house that dated back to the turn of the century. And I was sleeping in her stepdaughter's room, and it was a teenager, and the room was chaotic, very chaotic. And I just sort of moved the clothes to the side so I could get to the bed. And in the middle of the night, my whole evening gown, my pajamas were unbuttoned, and I was exposed. And I smelled this terrible cigar smoke. And again, you pray and cover your head because I wasn't getting out of bed at that point.
Right.
But then I got up in the morning and I got to the doorway and I smelled his smoke again, his cigar, a pipe. It was a pipe. And then all of a sudden, my sister, who's an intuitive herself, she calls and she's got a female. I guess it was the fact that at that time they both showed up, the husband and wife. It was a sea captain, and he basically married this very, very young girl, and she had the smell of lavender. And we exorcised him, and he went away. She had actually killed him with arsenic, and she hung around for a period of years. And she would follow us around the house. And finally, we talked to her as if she was sitting right there and said, you need to pass on, and we eliminated it. But when my family gets together, for some reason, the vibrational field raises, and all of us are intuitives on different levels, but we are. And wherever we go, if we get together, there's paranormal activity.
Oh, yeah.
Serious paranormal activity.
Yeah.
And so we're careful about where we stay and what's going on. We have to be alert. I could tell you all kinds of stories about what happens when the family gets together and spends the night under one roof.
Right. For
Can we
for
go?
me.
Can we go?
Yeah, can we go to
Yeah,
yours?
we'll-
Yeah, well, it's
For me, they're everywhere.
they
Jim
are
Eaton-
everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Jim Eaton, a very well-known parapsychologist, once stated, he said, it's amazing how people go to haunted locations and ignore the very one in their kitchen. And that's true, because they are, think about how many people have passed away. I can't sit here and say that there is a heaven or something. I've never been there. So one day, hopefully I will. But they're everywhere, so everybody's their own little heaven.